page and not the 21. Hey everybody, it's Rebecca from DevourDinner.com and welcome to my new studio. You guys, I'm so excited to be here. Happy Sunday. All right, before we get started, I'm going to put the recipe over here in the comments. I'm going to wait till we get a few people on to make sure that you guys can hear me and that we're all good to go. So as you pop on, you guys, give me that thumbs up, give me the heart, let me know that you're here, say hello in the comments, tell me where you're from. Most importantly, let me know if you can hear me. Super important that everybody can hear me before we get going. Looks like we've got some people on. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Gail. We're going to be welcoming once again the Instapot 101 for Beginners group. We're so excited to have them. So we're going to wait just a minute so that announcement can get thrown over into that group and they can get invited over. Hello, Sammy. You're from Wisconsin. Hi, Dave. Hey, Dave. That's 2 weeks in a row. Welcome back. I'm so excited. What do you guys think of the new studio? Some of you guys are newer. Some of you guys have been here before. But this is what I've been working so hard on to get ready for you guys. And I am like super excited. I feel like you're going to have much better view of what I'm doing and what's going on. And it's just so fantastic. So I'm thrilled. So let me know what you think. All right. Andela says, nice setup. Elizabeth says, hello. Peggy is from Arkansas. Hi, Rebecca. Wonderful. You can hear me fine, Peggy. Perfect. I love it. Hi, Kathy. I'm here. Love the new studio. Janelle says, sounds good so far. So bright and spacious. Isn't it great? It's a bright and spacious set that we've built here. So it does have some limitations because, of course, I don't have an oven going on, but no worries. We're still going to bring you awesome recipes and great demonstrations from right here that I hope that you guys really love. All right, you guys, I think we have the Instapot 101 for Beginner group now here. Welcome all of you from that group. I love having you. Please follow along with Devour Dinner so that you guys know more about who I am and what I do. I just love having you here. Gail says, beautiful. Gail, really, what do you think? Do you love it? I was chatting with Gail last night and didn't have a picture of the studio to tease her with, but here you go. So welcome the 101 family. Jill says hi. John says, I made the cashew chicken this week, and it was great. I love it. The cashew chicken is the recipe that we demoed last Sunday, so that's awesome. I'm so glad you tried it. Sherry says, beautiful day in Austin. Love the cutting boards. You guys love these? My husband made these cutting boards, not the big one, the little one. Super fun. Hello, Tracy. Hello, Timothy. Hello, Colleen. Hello, Taffy and Jill. All right, you guys, I'm going to dive right in. Let's get going. So I have already pressed the saute button on my Instapot. The saute button is located on this model in the lower right-hand corner, and I've pressed that so that it'll just start heating up, and we're going to start prepping away. So this recipe calls for about a half of an onion. And I'm just going to dice this up real fast. Feel free to leave your questions in the comments. I will come back and answer questions. I also have phenomenal followers who will jump in and answer questions too. And that's why I love it. I've got such great followers. Sherry says, love the Mickey cutting board. You found it. All right, that's a little hidden Mickey. If you guys are Disney fans, there's a thing called hidden Mickeys. I am a huge Disney fan, and so I had to put a little bit of a hidden Mickey into this studio. I'm just a huge Disney lover. Anytime I can get Disney, we do it. All right, I am just dicing up this onion here, just in small pieces. If you're not a fan of onions, you can use less. However, in this recipe, because I'm cutting these so small, I find that after they've been under pressure, you don't even notice they're in the recipe, but they do give off such a wonderful flavor that it's fabulous. All right, today's recipe. I didn't even tell you guys the ingredients. This recipe has been ranked 10 out of 10 by My Picky Eater. It is one of his favorites. So much so that anytime there's leftovers, he says they're his to take to school the next day. So I am making a chicken cordon bleu casserole. It's fantastic. In the recipe is, of course, some diced onions. We've got some chicken breast, ham cubes, chicken broth, pasta, a little bit of garlic, and then we have cream cheese as well as mozzarella cheese, as well as Swiss cheese and Parmesan and a little bit of heavy cream. Now this recipe, I've also made a skinny version. So it cuts down on some of the fats and some of the sodium to make it a little bit healthier, although don't get me wrong, it's not exactly healthy, but it's fabulous. Okay, so I've gotten this heated up, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of butter. You can also use, you could use a little bit of olive oil if you like, if you prefer that. And we are going to adjust some things around so that you guys can have some top down. I have not forgotten about all of my camera settings for you guys. So let me show you what we got. Here we go. So I just put the butter in here, let that melt, and we're just going to add into it our onions. And we're going to stir that up. Okay, we'll also be adding in some garlic into this, although I like to get the onions starting to cook first because that garlic will cook fast and I don't want the garlic to burn. In the meantime, while this is going, I'm going to go ahead and cube up our chicken. I'm going to wear some gloves while I do that. Today I'm using 2 really big chicken breasts. If you're using smaller chicken breasts, use 3 for this recipe. But they're very thick and big chicken breasts. And so I find that 2 works plenty. Make sure you trim off any of the fat. And then I just slice it. Let's get you guys a top down on this. So then I just slice it. And then I'll just cut it into some bite-sized pieces. And I'll do the same with this second chicken breast as well. Don't forget, while you're cubing up your chicken, to make sure to stir your onions. You don't want them sticking to the bottom of the pot. Where we have a lot of new Instapot owners, remember that you can get a burn notice as you're cooking with your pressure cooker, whether it's an Instapot or any of the brands. And I'm going to talk about why that happens and what you need to do to solve that and make sure that it doesn't happen for you. So part of that is when you're sauteing is to make sure that you stir frequently. You don't want things to get stuck to the bottom. We're going to add our chicken here, and we're going to add that garlic. Now we only need to cook the chicken until it's no longer pink. Stir that up. I'm going to take my gloves off. Give you guys some top down, and let's get this stirring up. I'm going to add some salt, as well as some pepper. And a little bit of garlic. And give that a stir. So today I used some Redmond real salt, and the Redmond garlic pepper is what I used. I really like it. So it's some products that I use. And we're just going to let the chicken cook until it's no longer pink before we add in the rest of our ingredients. So let's go to some questions here really quick. All right, we got lots of great comments here. Tracy's from Columbus. Tim is from Toledo. Hello, welcome. Colleen is from Oregon. Hello, hello. Jill says, love your new space. Looks great. I love it too. It's so fun. Andela says she has shared this live. Andela, thank you. Andela's been with me for a little while. She knows how valuable it is to share posts. It helps people like me, small businesses, reach more people, and that's how I make my living. And so I appreciate every time you guys share and you comment and you like on any of my posts that I do, whether it's on my page or in Instapot 101 or other places. It is so, so valuable. So thank you. Sherry says, love the making cutting board. Ashton says, hello, looking gorgeous in that red. Red is my power color, and I just thought I'd be a little sassy today. Kind of fun. Teresa says, hello. Maria says, studio looks gorgeous. Jill says, we just got back from Disney, went to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. So much fun. It never gets old. You're right. Disney never gets old, you guys. Trelva says, new studio looks wonderful. Great new look. Juanita says, I love your bright and cheery studio. Is your chicken semi-frozen when you cut it up? Thanks. Oh, that's a great question. Okay, my chicken breasts today were not frozen. They were thawed out. However, it's super easy to cut chicken when it's just a little bit frozen, and you could use that. So that would be totally fine. Not a problem at all. Jeanette says, hi. Jiff says, hey, from South Georgia. Michelle, love your new studio. So shiny and bright. Best wishes from Iowa. Thank you. Jiff says, shared. Wonderful. You guys, I can't tell you, it gives me goosebumps. I really mean it. It's so important to bloggers such as myself and other bloggers when you do take the time to share our content. If you make our recipes and you take a picture of them, and you post them like into Recipes 101, make sure to put your picture and then the link from the blog's website when you share that so that you're not violating any copyright by copying any of that content, but let me tell you, those posts do wonders. When you will take a picture of your own and put a comment of how much you enjoyed it and what you liked, and then the link back to the blogger's recipe, bloggers love it because we see an instant spike in traffic. And for us, that's just huge and vital. So you guys are awesome. Thank you. Eileen says, I want to come on the Disney cruise with you. Hey, everybody's welcome. It's a cruise. It's so much fun. I love it. Eileen's one of my followers. She's been around, so it's super fun. All right, so now I don't see any pink left in our chicken. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some of these other ingredients. And because I can't memorize every single recipe that I do, I'm going to pull some of this in. So for this recipe, I'm going to add a cup of ham cubes. Now you can use leftover ham. I'm just using kind of like the breakfast cubed ham, little cubes. So we're going to dump that in. And then I'm going to add some Dijon mustard. Get a little spoon here. And then we're going to add some chicken broth. So I can go ahead and I can turn off the saute feature because we don't need that heat from the bottom anymore. And to do that, you just press your cancel button. Then I'm going to go ahead and add, this recipe calls for 3 cups of water or broth. I prefer to use broth because I love the extra flavor that it adds to the pasta. So we're going to go ahead and add that. And this is the trick, you guys. Right now we want to deglaze the bottom of the pot. So all of you who are beginners, please listen up. Super important. We just cooked all that onion on the bottom, right? And then we put the chicken in. So there's areas that might have some things stuck to it. So there's a term called deglazing the pot. When you put a thin liquid in like broth or water with no heat, I'm going to take this wooden spoon and I'm going to scrape the bottom. By doing that, I'm going to lift up anything that was stuck on the bottom. The reason why that is so super important is because once I tell the Instapot to start the pressure cycle, as it builds up pressure, it's going to know something's on the bottom and whatever stuck to the bottom is going to burn. And then on your front reading, it's going to say burn. Well, when that happens, now you don't know what to do, right? We don't want a burn notice. When a burn notice happens, you have to turn your pressure cooker, your Instapot off, release the pressure, open the lid, clean the pot out, put everything back in, and start again. Of course, you could use the same ingredients, but you've got to make sure the bottom of that pot is clean. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking this wooden spoon and I'm just scraping the bottom of the pot to make sure that there is nothing stuck. So I kind of go in an up and back motion all around the pot. And that's really as simple as it is to deglaze the bottom of your pot to make sure that it's ready to go. All right, we put in 1 cup, so we're going to put in 2 more cups. Now, here's a trick, you guys. The recipe calls for 3 cups, but I don't have any more in this can, but I still need more liquid. I don't want to open up a whole new can of chicken broth only to waste it, so I'm going to fill the rest with water. Okay, this recipe also calls for 1 more cup of water, so we're going to add that in as well. And then it calls for a cup of whipping cream. The recipe then calls for our pasta. Now it's a pound of pasta and I'm using a penne pasta. And I'm going to go ahead and pour it in. We're not going to stir at this point. I want all that liquid to stay where it's at and I don't want to stir it up. Okay, here we go, top down. Some of my pasta is sticking out So I'm just going to move the pasta around to make sure that that pasta has places to go so it can get cooked up. All right, you guys, that's it. The next thing that we do is I'm going to take 8 ounces of cream cheese and I'm going to set it right on top. Now, a lot of people wonder, if I put the cream cheese, is it going to curdle? Is it going to do something crazy? It won't, because there's enough fat content in the cream cheese. But if you're worried about it, you can leave it out and you can stir it in at the end. That's not a problem. It's whatever you would wish to do. So today, I'm just going to set it on top because I want to get it all melted so that it is ready to go. And then we're going to put our lid on. We're going to close our lid. We're going to push the pressure valve to the back. The pressure valve is wobbly. If you're new to Instapot, this is a wobbly valve and it comes off as well. So push it to the back and we're going to set the program on it. For this recipe, we're going to cook on pressure cook or manual, depending upon your Instapot, for 6 minutes. So let's go ahead and set that up. So on the front of our panel, I'm going to pressure cook, which is in the lower right. And then I'm going to use my plus and minus keys to get down or up to 6 minutes. Okay? Once I have it programmed in, it'll take just a minute, and the Instapot will read on, and it'll beep. There we go. Once it beeps and reads on, that tells me that it's ready to go, it's accepted the reading, and it's going to start heating up that bottom element again and building up pressure in the pressure cooker, okay? So now we sit and we wait. The rest of this recipe calls for some grated Swiss cheese and some Parmesan cheese, which you can get ready now if you don't already. There is an option to put some breadcrumbs on top if you want to toast breadcrumbs on top. Today we're not going to do that, but that is an option. So let's go back to some questions, you guys. This is the fun part. This is the time where if you have any questions, anything that you want to ask about Instapots or pressure cookers in general, let's ask them. Okay, let me go back up. You guys are awesome. Peggy says, this is great, Peggy. Peggy said that she made the cashew chicken. It was so yummy. My son said the cashew chicken was fire. That's awesome. It is not a spicy recipe, for those of you wondering. That would be a good comment, I'm assuming. Barb says, your new set looks great. Thank you, Barb. Maria says, your studio space is gorgeous. Let's see here. Here we go. Oh, Nancy's asking the question, are you sauteing on high, medium, or low? I'm sauteing on high. So there is the volumes that you can set, high, medium, or low. Because I was doing a large batch of chicken, I wanted that heat from underneath, so I was doing it high. So that's a great question. John is asking, I bought some bone chicken broth because of its health benefits, but it's expensive. Do you think the flavor is any better? I think that comes down to a personal choice on what you like. Whether it's better or not, I think it's hard to say. I think it comes down to a personal on what you like. So give it a try. See what you like. I think you'll like it either way. But the bone-in broth is much more expensive, for sure. Peggy says, thanks for the info. I'll post a pic on the group of cashew. Oh, Peggy, you're a rock star. I can't even tell you. Seriously, when people will take a picture of a photo and post it back into the Instapot 101 group or any of the other Instapot groups, it's golden for bloggers. We see a spike in traffic and we instantly try to go find where it came from. But make sure you grab the link from the website, whether it's my website or someone else's. Do not screenshot the recipe and put it in your post. That is a violation of copyright. So make sure you grab the link so whoever sees it goes to the actual posted recipe. But that's awesome. Thank you so much. Teresa, hello from Utah. Rebecca says, love those ham cubes. They're easy peasy. They sure are. Taffy says, can you explain why it's okay to add whipping cream and it won't burn, but milk would? Yes, it's a great question. So whipping cream has a high fat content, where milk has a lower fat content. So because of the fat content in whipping cream in cream cheese, it won't curdle. It's just what it is. Kind of crazy, I know. I was super skeptical when I first started. But it makes a difference. In my skinny version, it calls for evaporated milk, and the evaporated milk has to be added after the pressure time because there's not the fat content in it. So depending upon the recipe makes all the difference. Jill says, getting a glare on the side view. We are going to get a glare, unfortunately, Jill. There's a couple of things that I'm working on with some lighting where it's a brand new studio. Today I did a test run late last night when it was pitch black outside. We will have a little bit of a glare just because it's that digital panel, unfortunately, but we'll try to move it so that you can see when I'm doing things on it. Gail says, enjoy the little things. Mandy says, do you have this recipe in print form? So all of my recipes, you're able to go to the recipe card. The recipe cards are always located at the bottom of each post, and you have an option to print it yourself. So you can print it yourself for your own personal use. I try to keep all of my content, these recipes, free for you guys so that you can just come and you can use them and you can enjoy them that way. I do not have a recipe cookbook at this time, but I am sure one will be coming. Michelle says, do you ever make your own bone-in broth in the Instapot? Michelle, I have not as of yet made it. I have seen it made. I have heard about it being made, but I have not tried it as of yet. It is on my to-do list, but there's also a lot of recipes on my to-do list too. And unfortunately, there's just not enough time in the day sometimes. So it's super hard, super hard. Maria, hello from Silicon Valley. Chris says, let's see. I know I got mine and didn't know how to use it the first time. Christine, I'm assuming you're meaning your Instapot. Instapots are hard to use, right? There's so much that goes into it. It's super important if you're new, do the water test. I did a live video last week with a live water test as well as making hard-boiled eggs with the 5-5-5 method. And so that video is available to view from my video section. I believe it's also in the Instapot 101 for Beginners group as well. And it's super handy because you can just play it and you can pause it and you can follow right along with it, or you can fast forward and jump through things. So it's perfect that way. But make sure you do your water test because it's super, super important. Leslie says, I just bought an Instapot today. Woohoo! Congratulations, Leslie. And I tried to make hard-boiled eggs, but they didn't cook all the way through. I selected high pressure and cooked them for 5 minutes, then switched the release and cooled them for 5 minutes. What did I do wrong? Okay. So by what you put right here, the 5-5-5 method of hard-boiled eggs is you cook them for 5 minutes, you allow a natural release for 5 minutes, and then you put them in a cold water bath for 5 minutes. So it sounds like after the 5 minutes, you release the pressure, which is what the problem is. There is a difference between quick release and natural release. So, you guys, let me tell you, a quick release is when it's all done cooking and we open the pressure valve and the steam shoots up to the ceiling. That's a quick release. On a natural release, when the timer goes off, we just allow the pressure to naturally come down nice and slow. So when we're cooking meats, particularly chicken breasts, steaks, pork, ham, whatever it may be, we want to naturally release the pressure. We want to slow the pressure down slowly because if we release it quickly, all the moisture from our meat is going to get pulled out of our meat. And so we do a natural release in that state. Typically in recipes, they're always going to say as part of the directions if it's a quick release or a QR or a natural release, NR. So pay attention to those directions because that's the difference between a QR and an NR or an NPR, which is natural pressure release. So I hope that answers the question, Leslie, but if not, jump right back in. Sherry says, love the new studio. Hello from Canada. Hi, Cheryl. Uh-oh, Leslie, you've lost sound on your feed? How's everybody else doing? Can you still hear things? I'm getting the thumbs up over here that there's still audio. Maybe refresh your page, Cheryl, if you can hear me, which you can't. Oh, she got it back. Okay. Let's see. I tried using my Instapot twice, and it was a horrible experience, but being chronically ill, it would save me so much time and allow me to cook my meals. Just trying to get more comfortable with it, and watching your video helps. Thank you. Oh, that makes my day. That's why I do these videos, is because pressure cooking can be hard, and it can be confusing, and it can be scary. And I want to help all those who have their pressure cookers, their Instapots, know that they can do it. The recipes are simple enough to do and to follow along, and that's why I do it. So on my page, my Facebook page, I now have, 50 live videos of recipes, which you can watch at any time through the video button. They're fabulous. So it's kind of fun. Can you explain what a controlled quick release is? So this is a question from Jill. So a controlled quick release, absolutely. So if the recipe calls for a quick release, right, normally we would just open the pressure valve and let it shoot up. To control the pressure release means we're going to open the pressure, but we're going to kind of stick by it and we're going to close it periodically. And this recipe is actually a great example for that. So let me explain why. We just put a whole bunch of pasta in this pot, a whole bunch of pasta. And think about when you cook pasta on the stove. When you cook on the stove, you get the starch from pasta that bubbles up. And if you're not paying attention, it bubbles over your pot, makes a mess on your stove, at least for me. So all of that starch is built up inside of the pressure cooker. And we need that starch to settle down. So if we open the pressure valve and let it shoot up, we would see it spitting, is the term. And it would be spitting liquid out, more so than just the steam. And so you close it, and that's a controlled quick release, so that you give it a minute sometimes to let things settle, then you open it again and release more pressure, kind of like you would do with a 2-liter bottle of soda. You know how you open it up and it fizzes to the top and you quickly close the top, and then you wait for it to settle, and then you open it back up again, and then wait till the bubbles get to the top. It's the same concept. So that's a controlled quick release. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys are moving the screen so fast. Leslie says, oh, I didn't do a natural release. That's correct. That's why your eggs weren't done. So next time, allow that pressure to stay in there for the 5 minutes, then pull it out, and then put it in a cold water bath for your eggs. And that's the 5-5-5 method. Juanita says, so exactly where do I find all of your great recipes, and where can I save them at? So if you go to my website, devourdinner.com, and up in the top toolbar, there is, on the navigation, one for Instapot that has all my Instapot recipes in it. And you can get to them all that way is probably the easiest. Uh-oh, Brittany got kicked out, but she's back. I'm glad you're back, Brittany. Dave got kicked out too. I wonder what's going on. We've had continuous here, so I don't know if it's where that problem is, you guys. I'm sorry. Is the healthy version on your blog page? Yes. So the skinny version of the chicken cordon bleu casserole is on the web page, and I will actually, let me just put a link to it for you guys. How's that? All right, I just put it in the comments, the skinny chicken cordon bleu. So you'll see that pop up here in just a moment. Perfect. All right, you guys, feel free to jump in with any more questions that you have on this recipe. I'm starting to see the steam kind of come out of the pressure valve area, which is a good sign. It means things are heating up. This is a full pressure cooker where we used a whole pound of pasta, so there's a lot going on in there. So it does take extra time to pressure up. Each recipe will be different on how long it takes to pressure up. And the reason for that is because of whatever's inside. In this case, we had 4 cups of liquid. We had a pound of pasta. We had all that chicken and the ham. That was a lot in this pot. And so it takes more time to pressure up in the process. We're getting close. It's bobbing. I don't know if you guys can see the steam over here, just starting or not. Now, super important, you never want to play with the pressure valve. You want to let it do its thing. Sometimes I do press the top down, which will seal it if it's ready. But you don't want to mess with the venting or the pressure pin. Those are there as a safety feature. And we want to make sure that we're safe, you guys. So we want to let it kind of do its thing. Now that it has sealed, the Instapot will take a minute or so before the front panel changes. So it still is reading the on position. And here in just a minute, it's going to change and it's going to say 6 minutes. Well, it'll say 6. So on your pressure, if you're new, it'll be 00 with a colon 06. And when it cooks, it counts down in time. So it'll go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before it beeps at us to let us know that it is done cooking and ready to either be natural released or quick released. Then if we're doing a natural release, the numbers will count up in time. And so as the numbers count up, that's your way of keeping track of how long that natural release has gone on. So if you're doing eggs, you would watch it until it reads 5 minutes before you would open up the pressure valve. And that's as simple as it is, you guys. Now we wait. Gail, perfect. All right, Gail says, recipes are tested using cold ingredients. You really shouldn't try to cut time by using hot water. Okay, that is so true. When recipes are tested, I've got a lot of blogger friends, and we spend hours and sometimes days testing recipes. We test them so that when you guys make the recipes, they work. So that they work and they work like they're supposed to. Because we've tested out all the bugs for you. But if you alter and change what we do, then it alters and changes the recipe. And one of those things is the heat of the elements of the things you're putting inside. So if you're to heat up the water or heat up the food different than what's described, it will come to pressure faster. Now that's going to save you time, but it may not cook everything inside because as a recipe tester, I want that time that it takes to pressure up as part of the cooking time. So thank you for pointing that out, Gail. That's awesome. Vicki says, hello from Oregon. Love the cashew chicken. I am so glad. I am so glad so many of you are back from last week and that you enjoyed the cashew chicken. It is my favorite. Hands down, it's my favorite. I do love this one, but I'll go back to the cashew chicken time and time again. Juanita says, did you buy already cooked ham or do you cube ham yourself? Okay, both is the answer. Today I use the already cooked ham that I buy in where they sell the lunch meat. But if I have just like cooked a ham and I have leftover ham, then I'll use my leftover ham. So it can go either way. It doesn't matter. It's perfect. Okay, this is still getting its situating thing going on there. So it has not gone to 6 minutes. But once it does, then we'll just have 6 minutes to wait for the recipe to do its thing. For those of you just joining in live, this is a one-pot meal, which is so perfect for busy families where you cook everything in one pot. The pasta's cooked in with the chicken, and it's just a one pot meal. You can obviously pull that out when we're all done with it and put it in a casserole dish. So if you want to serve on your kitchen table so it looks a little nicer, or you can serve directly from the pot. Either way works just fine. All right, you guys, let me know what other questions you have. Brenda says, this is my first time watching you and I'm already a fan. Can't wait to make this recipe. I love it. All right, listen, Brenda, and for all of you newcomers out there, please take the time to follow me on my Facebook page. Press like so that you're following me. And you will see the new recipes that I do as well. Not all my recipes are Instapot. I do a large majority of Instapot. But Brenda, just know I go live every Sunday with a new recipe, and it's super fun. So I hope you come back week after week and see what recipes are being done, because it's fun. It's great, and I so appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to follow along. All right. This is taking a long time today. It's because we have that whole pound of pasta. My family's in the wings, and they are ready to eat. We got to get this going. All right, it just changed to 6 minutes. I knew if I snapped my finger it would do it. So let me show you the side view. And let me pull this closer. So it's 00, and then the colon, and then 06. So that is our 6 minute reading. And it will start going down in numbers as it cooks. And then once it reaches the end, we'll get it opened up. Perfect. Dave is asking me to go over the recipe again. That's a great suggestion there, Dave. So in this recipe, it called for about a half of a diced onion, a teaspoon of crushed garlic, and I used 2 large chicken breasts that I cut up in smaller bite-sized pieces, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, salt and pepper to taste. I usually do more pepper than salt, especially since I'm using chicken broth that has salt in it. Sometimes I use the sodium-free chicken broth as well. It called for a cup of heavy whipping cream and 8 ounces or a cube of cream cheese, and 1 box, which is a pound of penne pasta. And then I set the pressure cooker to 6 minutes. So it takes a while to pressure up, and then it's golden and it does its thing. This recipe, we're going to do a quick release, but we're going to do a controlled quick release. So we're going to give it a minute and let that pressure out slowly. And then we're going to open up the lid. Our ingredients inside, it's going to appear very thin. We're going to add in some Swiss cheese and some Parmesan cheese to help thicken that sauce. But ideally, that sauce will thicken as it cools. So I had a viewer the other day who made this recipe who messaged me. And I happened to be on Facebook at the time, so the message came in instant. And they're like, I've ruined it. It's just, the sauce is so thin. And I said, you haven't ruined it. Wait 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes, it cools and that sauce thickens right up. So remember, follow recipes. There's reasons why we say wait 10 minutes. Not because it's going to burn your tongue, which it would, but we need that time for it to cool down, for sauces to thicken and things to happen. And that's the recipe. It's a really simple recipe. There is, like I said, the skinny version, so the skinny chicken cordon bleu, which is very similar, but it uses water instead of chicken broth. It uses evaporated milk instead of the whipping cream to pull down those calories a little bit. So great question there, Dave. Thank you. Okay, Carol says, I tried making scalloped potatoes. It was a horrible mess. It burnt. It took forever to clean the pot. Was it because I used whole milk? It depends. So on scalloped potatoes, were you doing it in the pot method, or were you doing it in the actual liner? I feel like where you said it burnt, that you were doing it in the actual liner, and that's where the problem comes into play. Scalloped potatoes are really best done in the pot method, and what that means is you're using a separate pot that goes inside. So you still have your liner pot, and then a smaller pot that sits on a trivet that goes inside. The reason for that is anything that's in that smaller pot doesn't have that extra liquid. So to make pot and pot work, you put a cup of water in the bottom with a trivet, then that smaller pot on top with your scalloped potatoes inside of it. And that way you get your pressure, you get your steam, you don't get a burn notice because there's nothing on that element that's going to burn. Scalloped potatoes do take a little while to cook, especially where it's pot and pot method. Those usually do take a little bit longer. And you want to make sure that you get enough sauce and enough liquid in with your potatoes so that it can absorb that liquid so that those potatoes can cook and soften up. Let's see. Jill has a great question. Would you explain for the beginners why layering is important? Absolutely. So if you're cooking, let's say you're cooking chicken breast. You just want to shred up chicken breasts, right? And you are going to put a cup of liquid in the bottom, and you're going to put your chicken breasts, maybe 2 down on the bottom. If you were to start just stacking those chicken breasts right on top, what you've made is a brick of chicken, right? Unfortunately, the pressure cooker is only so much magic, and it's never going to be able to get into that center of that brick of chicken and cook. So if you were to layer your chicken breasts side by side the opposite way, so that there can be some airflow in between your chicken breasts a little bit better, you would find that you'll have a much better even cooking time. Super important to not pack it like a rock or a brick. You want to have that airflow all around, whether you're doing pot in pot or without the pot. Super important. And a lot of times that's why the trivet is used. So your pressure cooker likely came with a trivet that has little tiny feet. A lot of times, if I'm going to cook a lot of chicken breasts, I will put my chicken breast on that trivet so that it lifts it up off the bottom. So I have airflow on the bottom, on the sides, and then I'm stacking those chicken breasts to get air down and through. It just helps the cooking process to make sure that you're not creating a brick. Great question there, Jill. Eileen says, I recently bought a Milthy crisp lid. I'd use it. What kind of topping do you use? Okay. I love my Milthy crisp lid. If you guys don't know what it is, it will turn any 6 or 8 quart pressure cooker into an air fryer. And it's an element that sits right on top. If you buy that from Milthy, is the company that makes it directly, milthy.com, MEALTHY. I do have a code. It's an affiliate link that'll get you $10 off. The code is Devour Dinner, one word, all capitals. It'll get you $10 off. I love my crisp lid. Love, love, love it. I don't have it over here in the studio, so I can show you, but it sits on top. Today, if I was adding some breadcrumbs on top, I would take probably like 2 tablespoons of melted butter with like a cup of breadcrumbs, and I'd mix it together, and then I'd sprinkle it on top, Eileen. Put the crisp lid on top, put it at like 375, and let it go 2, maybe 3 minutes. I'd watch it until it kind of toasts up. All right, you guys just heard that beep. We're going to let it sit for just a second. Carrie says, I haven't been able to hit follow on your page, and I've tried for multiple times for weeks. Anyone else have this issue? I've never seen that. Eileen says, same here. Okay, that's super bizarre. I have no idea, you guys. I'll do a search later. Terry says, I want the crisper. Terry, the crisper's awesome. Make sure you use that code, Devour Dinner, one word, all caps, for $10 off. That also works on their multi-pot and a couple of their other items as well. Eileen says you used the code. Thank you. That does give me some money back for talking about a product. I only talk about products that I use and that I like. I don't just throw out products for the heck of it. Teresa says she uses cornflakes mixed up with butter. I also use Ritz crackers. Love that too. So that's important. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to open the pressure on this. We're going to do it controlled. If you have the ladle and the rice cooker or the rice paddle, there's a little square in the end, little hook on the end, so that you can easily just open it up and our pressure just goes straight up. In this case, it's not spitting. Oh, there it goes. So we're going to close it for a second and let that pressure calm down inside because I don't want all of that starch shooting up. Not what I had in mind today. So we'll let a little more out and we'll close it again. And as it comes down, it's super, it'll just relax little by little. So that's a controlled pressure release. As you see, I'm using my fingers to do that. Of course, I have made hundreds and hundreds of recipes using my pressure cooker, so I'm super comfortable with it. If you're not, use the end of something to open and close it. Okay, keep your fingers away from it so that you're not getting burnt or even think you will get burnt. And we'll just let that release and we'll get the lid off here. Now, for those of you who are interested, I will be going live again as soon as we're done here, doing another recipe. The second recipe that I'm going to be doing today is a brand new recipe on my site, and it is for chicken parmesan casserole done with pasta. So that'll be super fun. Because we have so much in this pot, it will take a minute for all of this pressure to come out. The more you have in it, the more pressure is just built up. But we can already see that it has started to slow down. So that pin will drop here any minute. When the pin drops, we're going to go ahead, we're going to give it a stir, and we're going to be adding into it Swiss cheese and Parmesan cheese. And we're going to give it a stir. Remember, our cream cheese is on top, so I'm going to let you guys see what that looks like in our top down when I open the lid to give you guys an idea of what it looks like, and we're going to stir it all up. Gail says she'll be exhausted after that. It's true. I will be. And we're cutting it close today, Gail. I got 8 minutes to finish this up. Let's see here. Dave says he got knocked out again. I have no idea why that's the case. No idea. Peggy says, oh, I love the chicken parm. The chicken parm is super, super good. Vicki says she got kicked out as well. Gosh, what's going on today, you guys? I have no idea. We're just waiting. Gail says she's watching the clock. All right, this is almost dropped. I'm going to get a drink of water. I put my water bottle down beneath because I've talked too much. All right, pin's going to drop. It's almost there. There we go. All right, top down, you guys. Here it comes. So this is what it looks like. We can see the cream cheese, and I'm going to stir this up. The more I stir, that cream cheese thins out, breaks apart, melts down in. Then we are going to add to it. Now, our Swiss cheese is going to make it kind of stringy, okay? So I like to add a little bit of it, and then I like to stir it in so it can start melting. The heat from the rest of the sauce is what melts that. And then we're going to add some Parmesan. We're going to stir that as well. And we're going to add in the rest of our Swiss cheese. And there we go. Now I'm going to show you this. So right now this is still super thin. See if I can get some of this. You can see how thin that is, right? I can just pour that out. This will thicken up. The sauce will thicken up as it cools. We're not going to have time today to wait until it's fully cooled off to give it that full 10 minutes. But keep stirring. You can put the lid back on if you like. If I want to cool it off faster, then I will stir it, because that releases that steam from the bottom and it cools it off faster. As you can see, this makes a huge amount. Honestly, this is an easy 8 servings. I have boys, you guys know that. And so for my boys, I'm doing really well to get 6 servings out of it. But this is, we'll go live or top down one more time for you guys. There we go. So, it's wonderful. This dish is one of our favorites. It reheats well, and it's delicious. You can see how well coated everything is with a nice sauce. So that makes a difference. All right, you guys, listen. I'm going to go live again right here in about 4 minutes. So I'm going to do a quick cleanup on this, get the next ingredients out, and I'll be making chicken parm pasta casserole. Super easy dish. It actually cooks up a lot quicker. We're going to be using frozen chicken on that one. So I want to show you the difference between when you saute up chicken and when you use frozen. All right? You guys, thank you for being a part of me today. Thank you for coming, for sharing, for all of the love. I so appreciate it. You guys, I'll be live in just a few minutes. I hope you come back and you join me. Remember to be kind to yourself and others. So important. You guys have an awesome day and an awesome week. Bye now.